It was a cold evening in Lagos. The streets were busy with people rushing home after a long day at work. Uche, a young hardworking man, walked quickly, eager to get home and rest. He had always prayed to get married, but his busy work schedule never gave him a chance to ask any girl out. That evening, as he walked, he saw a young lady struggling to carry her handbag and some files. She was dressed in a neat blue skirt and a white shirt. She looked tired but beautiful. "Excuse me, let me help you with that," Uche said, offering his hand. The lady looked up and smiled. "Oh, thank you so much." Her name was Odoki. She was a banker and had just closed from work. Uche and Odoki started talking, and before they knew it, they became close friends. Uche was happy. He felt like he had known Odoki forever, even though they had only met 2 months ago. Without wasting time, he proposed, and she agreed. Their wedding was simple but beautiful. Soon, they started living together as husband and wife. Everything seemed perfect. Uche was a loving husband, and Odoki was a caring wife. But something was not right. There was something about Odoki that Uche observed, and it made him uncomfortable. At first, Uche tried to ignore it. He loved his wife and he wanted to believe that she was perfect. But as days passed, he could no longer pretend. One morning, Uche woke up early to prepare for work. He walked to the kitchen to get some water, but what he saw shocked him. The sink was filled with dirty plates from last night's dinner. The kitchen was messy, with food crumbs and oil stains everywhere. The trash bin was overflowing. The whole place smelled bad. Uche frowned. Maybe she was too tired to clean last night, he thought. He quickly cleaned up and left for work. But this was just the beginning. Every day he noticed something new. Dirty clothes were scattered all over the bedroom. The bathroom was always messy. The living room had wrappers and crumbs on the floor. Even their bed sometimes smelled. Uche was confused. How can a banker, a woman who dresses so neatly to work, be so dirty at home? He wondered. He decided to talk to her. That evening, after dinner, he gently said, "Odoki, I noticed that the house is always untidy. Do you need help cleaning? We can do it together." Odoki laughed. "Ah, Uche, you worry too much. A little dirt won't buy us. I'll clean it later." But later never came. Days turned into weeks, and things only got worse. Uche tried his best to clean up, but it was not easy. Odoki would cook and leave the pots unwashed for days. She would eat and leave plates on the table. Even her clothes were always dirty. One day, Uche came up with a plan. He would invite her family over and see if she would clean up before they arrived. The day came. Odoki's mother and younger sister arrived. But to Uche's shock, Odoki did not bother to clean up. She welcomed them into the messy house as if everything was normal. Her mother frowned. "Odoki, is this how you live? This house is a mess." Odoki just laughed. "Mama, it's just small dirt." Uche's heart sank. Was this really his wife? Could he continue living like this? Odoki's mother could not stand it. She left the next day, shaking her head in disappointment. Uche watched as she walked out of the house, her wrapper tied tightly around her waist, her handbag clutched firmly under her arm. She had said nothing to him that morning, only sighed deeply before stepping into the waiting taxi. Uche knew she was disappointed, but he hoped she would understand that he was trying his best to make things work with his wife. Uche sat down one evening, deep in thought. He loved his wife, but things were getting out of hand. The house was always in a mess, and Odoki showed no concern. Later that evening, after Odoki had returned from work, Uche decided to talk to her. He cleared his throat and said, "Odoki, I have been thinking, maybe you should stop working for now, so you can have time to take care of the home." Odoki turned sharply to him, her eyes flashing with irritation. "What? Stop working? Uche, are you serious? How can I stop working? Do you want me to become a full-time housewife? I love my job, and I won't quit." Uche sighed, already expecting her reaction. "I just think we need some balance. The house is always messy, and there's barely any food at home. I am always exhausted after work, and I don't think you should be stressing yourself either." Ogochi shook her head. Uche, I love my job. I worked hard to become a banker. I can't just quit because you think I should. Uche sighed. But the house? I said no. Ogochi snapped and stormed off. Uche did not want to argue further, so he let the matter rest. He told himself he would find another way to fix the situation. A few months passed, and Ogochi became pregnant. Uche was overjoyed. He believed that this new phase in their lives would bring them closer together. Ogochi took a few days off work because of pregnancy hormones. One day, Uche came home early, excited to see his wife and spend some time with her. As he stepped into the house, he froze. The entire sitting room was a mess. Empty plates with leftover food were scattered on the table. The cushions were in disarray. A half-eaten loaf of bread sat on the floor, and the smell of stale food filled the air. And there, in the middle of it all, was Ogochi, sitting on the couch eating carelessly. Uche stared at her in shock. He had never seen her like this before. His wife, whom he once thought was neat and elegant, now looked completely different. His stomach tightened as he tried to process what he was seeing. He cleared his throat. Ogochi, what is going on here? Ogochi looked up, noticed his presence, and smiled lazily. Oh, welcome, my husband, she said, her mouth full of food. She wiped her hands on the couch. I was just eating, and she continued eating. He frowned. The house is dirty, and you don't seem to care. Ogochi, this is getting out of hand. Maybe we should hire a housemaid to help with the chores. Ogochi dropped her spoon immediately and shot him a sharp look. A housemaid? Are you out of your mind? You want to bring a girl into this house so you can start sleeping with her, right? Uche, I know your type. Uche was shocked. What are you saying? I only suggested it to help you. You are pregnant, and I don't want you to stress yourself. I don't need any housemaid in my home. If you want one, go and live with her somewhere else, she snapped, throwing a piece of meat into her mouth. Uche rubbed his forehead in frustration. He didn't know what to do anymore. His mind raced as he tried to understand what was happening. The woman he married was changing before his eyes, and he had no idea what to do about it. Uche rubbed his forehead in frustration as he sat on the edge of the bed, deep in thought. The tension in the house had been growing, and he felt trapped between his love for his wife and his frustration with her lack of cleanliness. He sighed deeply, knowing that another battle awaited him when he got home. The next day, Uchechi left for work as usual. The morning had been uneventful, but his mind was still clouded with thoughts of the previous night's argument. During his lunch break, his phone rang. It was Kingsley, his longtime friend. Uche picked up the call. Uche, my guy. Longest time. How far? Kingsley's cheerful voice boomed through the phone. Uche forced a smile. I day, Kingsley. How you day? I day alright, my brother. I just say make I check on you. Nah, today Premier League match day, and I want come your house make we watch together. E Dante way, I never visit you since you marry. Uche's stomach tightened. He couldn't let Kingsley see the house in its current state. He knew Kingsley too well. He wouldn't hold back from making comments. The thought of his friend witnessing the scattered dirty plates, clothes on the chairs, and unkempt floors made Uche uneasy. Ah, Kingsley, e be like say make we just go watch for outside. I know today in the mood to watch for house. We fit hang out instead. Kingsley chuckled. Uche, na wa for you oh. No tell me say nah because you marry you don change. Abi your madam no go gree make I come. Uche forced another laugh, his grip tightening around his phone. No be so, my brother. I just feel say e Dante way we hang out. Make we chill outside. Kingsley paused, then sighed. Alright, no wala. We go meet for our usual spot after work. When Uche ended the call, he slumped back in his chair. His heart felt heavy. He didn't want his friends to insult him because of his wife's messiness. He knew what awaited him at home, and he dreaded it. After work, he dragged himself home, exhausted. His day had been long and stressful, and all he wanted was to come home to a clean house and a warm meal. But the moment he stepped inside, his heart sank. The living room was in chaos. Dirty clothes were thrown carelessly over the couch. Empty plates with dried food sat on the center table, and used wrappers littered the floor. A sour smell filled the air. Uche shut the door slowly, his eyes scanning the mess before him. His stomach twisted in anger and disappointment. He dropped his bag and took a deep breath, rubbing his temples. He was too tired for another argument, too drained to even call out his wife's name. Without thinking, he began picking up the dirty clothes, folding them into a pile. He cleared the plates, taking them to the kitchen, only to be met with another unpleasant sight. Ogochi was in the kitchen, hunched over the sink, vomiting. The sink was already filled with dirty plates, and her hair was in a mess. Uche stood frozen, watching her in shock. His mouth opened, but no words came out. Ogochi wiped her mouth weakly, turning around to see her husband staring at her. Her face was pale, and she looked exhausted. Uche, she started, but the words got caught in her throat. Uche took a step forward, then stopped. His anger and frustration warred with concern for his wife. He had so much to say, but for the first time he found himself speechless. His hands clenched into fists, his chest rising and falling with unspoken words. Should he yell? Should he walk away? Or should he comfort her? The house was a mess. His wife was sick, and Uche was caught in between his emotions, unsure of what to do next. The silence stretched between them, heavy and suffocating. Then, without warning, Uche did something unexpected. He rushed to her, carried her in his arms, and took her back to the sitting room. He grabbed a towel and started cleaning her up, wiping her face and straightening her hair. Then, he carried her to the car and drove straight to the hospital. At the hospital, the nurses quickly attended to Ogochi as Uche paced the hallway, his heart pounding. He had never seen her this weak before. When the doctor finally came out, he had a stern look on his face. "She needs enough bed rest," the doctor said. "She will be spending 2 days here. She's too weak to continue like this." Uche sighed deeply. He knew he had to find a way to help her. He picked up his phone and called Ogochi's mother, hoping she would come and assist her daughter. But to his shock, her mother refused. "I can't cope with Ogochi," she said firmly. "That girl is too dirty. I have told her many times, but she won't listen. She has to deal with it herself." Uche felt frustration rise inside him. He clenched his jaw and ran a hand over his face. How could a mother refuse to help her own daughter at such a time? With a heavy heart, he walked back into the hospital room and sat beside Ogochi. "Your mother refused to come," he said quietly. "She said she can't cope with your dirtiness." Ogochi's eyes widened in shock and pain. She turned her face away, blinking back tears. "If she doesn't want to come, so be it. After all, I am trying my best with or without her." Uche exhaled sharply and stood up. "This is exactly why things must change, Ogochi. I have had enough. You are going to stop that work whether you like it or not. If you don't, consider this marriage over. And we will be bringing a housemaid. That is final." Ogochi stared at him, shocked. She had never seen him so serious before. His voice was firm, his expression unreadable. A cold shiver ran through her. "Uche, you can't mean that," she whispered. "You know I don't want a housemaid." "Then start behaving like a wife, Ogochi," Uche snapped. "You are pregnant. You can't be stressing yourself like this. Look at you. Look at where you are now." Ogochi bit her lips. She wanted to argue, but deep down, she knew he was right. But the thought of a stranger living in her home made her uneasy. Later that night, as she lay in the hospital bed, she thought about everything. Her mother's rejection, Uche's anger, and her own stubbornness. Maybe it was time to change. Maybe she had pushed herself too much. The next morning, Uche returned with fresh food and sat beside her. "I spoke with my friend's wife," he said. "She knows a trustworthy housemaid. We will interview her together once you are discharged." Ogochi sighed, feeling cornered. "I don't like this, Uche. I don't like seeing you like this either," Uche replied softly. "Just trust me. We need help." Ogochi turned away, staring at the ceiling. Deep down, she knew she was losing this battle. As Ogochi came back from the hospital, she decided it was time to resign from her job. She went to the office, submitted her resignation letter, and returned home to inform Uche. That evening, after dinner, she told him, "Since I'm no longer working, let's bring the maid so we can interview her together." Uche, feeling relieved that Ogochi was finally open to the idea, quickly called his friend's wife, who had recommended the maid. The next day, the young girl named Ada arrived. Uche and Ogochi sat in the living room for the interview. Uche asked simple questions about her experience, but Ogochi was harsh. Her voice was cold, and her face remained stiff. "Do you know how to cook?" she asked sharply. "Yes, Ma," Ada replied softly. "Do you clean very well? I don't want a lazy person here." "Yes, Ma, I do." "You better not be lying. Do you have any sickness?" Ogochi asked, her eyes scanning Ada like she was a criminal. The girl shook her head nervously. Uche sighed, feeling uncomfortable with how his wife was treating Ada, but he kept quiet. After a long interrogation, Uche finally said, "You can start work tomorrow." Ada nodded and left, relieved that she got the job. When Ada started working, Ogochi made life miserable for her. She became more careless with her mess. She would go to the toilet, use it, and refuse to flush. She would scatter used tissue paper all over the floor. She would go to the kitchen just to drink water and leave the entire place wet. She left her dirty plates in the sink and clothes all over the house. Ada was always left cleaning up her mess while holding back tears. One day, Ogochi was in the toilet. She was sitting on the toilet seat, eating a banana while doing her business. She called out, "Ada! Ada! Come here." Ada rushed in. "Yes, Ma." Ogochi threw the banana peel on the floor and said, "Pick it up and throw it away." Ada bent down, picked it, and walked out quietly. She was used to this kind of treatment. So Uche noticed what was happening, how the house is always dirty after Ada finished cleaning. So he tried to talk to his wife. "Ogochi, this is not fair. Ada is just a young girl trying to work. Why are you treating her like this? See how all this place is. Please help her so she won't break down." "Oh, so now you're defending her." Ogochi snapped. "Maybe you hired her to replace me in this house. ABI? Don't think I don't know what men like you are planning. But don't worry, my eyes is on you." Uche sighed and walked away. He didn't know what to do anymore. Ada, on the other hand, was suffering in silence. Every night, she cried herself to sleep, wondering why she had to endure such. During dinner that night, Uche and Ogochi sat at the dining table, eating. Ada had just finished serving them and was about to eat her own meal in the kitchen when Ogochi suddenly shouted, "Ada, come here." Ada quickly dropped her spoon and rushed to the dining area. "Ma, go and bring me my phone from the bedroom." Ada hurried off and returned with the phone. She was about to go back to her meal when Ogochi called her again. "Ada, take this plate and add more meat from the pot." Ada obeyed, her stomach rumbling from hunger. As soon as she returned the plate, Ogochi called her again. "Ada, go and bring me cold water." Uche, who had been silently observing, finally spoke up. "Ogochi, let the girl eat in peace. You are disturbing her too much." Ogochi dropped her spoon with a loud clatter and narrowed her eyes at her husband. "So you are now defending her again? You are hiding something from me about this girl." Uche, Uche, Uche. How many times did I call you? Tears welled up in Ada's eyes. She bit her lips to stop herself from crying. Uche sighed and rubbed his forehead, already exhausted from the unnecessary drama. But Ogochi was not done. She folded her arms and hissed loudly. "I don't trust her. I don't want her in my house," she declared. Uche shook his head and continued eating. Ada wiped her tears and slowly returned to the kitchen. But that night, she lay in bed thinking. Ogochi had pushed her too far, and this time she was going to do something about it.